Welcome to the Grad Ireland Career Discovery Week podcast. My name is Ruairi Kavanagh, editor with Grad Ireland. In this series, we showcase the work, study and career development opportunities available with some of the employers and course providers we're featuring in the Grad Ireland Career Discovery Week. I'm delighted to welcome you again to another episode of the Grad Ireland Career Discovery Week podcast. And we're joined here today by Rachel Bradford, who's the HR manager with Alucraft, and also by Anya Hargaden, who's the marketing manager with Alucraft, to talk about careers in the facade industry, what Alucraft do, and what career paths are available for graduates within this very diverse and growing industry. Rachel, thanks for joining us here today on the Grad Ireland podcast. I suppose, could you give us an overview of the facade industry? It's not something that many people know a whole lot about, perhaps, if you're not directly involved in it, obviously.
Yes, thanks for having me. So the facade industry, it's basically a very specialised subsector of the construction industry. It relates to the building envelope, so that's essentially the outside of a building. So from a design point of view, the facade is often the most important aspect as it sets the tone for the rest of the building, and it's probably one of the most recognisable and glamorous components of a building today.
And what career paths are available for graduates, broadly speaking?
There are many different career paths available for graduates from the facade industry. So, a person could decide to become a facade designer, a structural engineer, or a project manager, and that's just to name a few. There really are so many options. So I think graduates who have the relevant skills and qualifications should definitely consider the facade industry when planning their career.
Okay, and in terms of your own structure with Alucraft, how many graduates would you take in on average, and how does that start? What time of year does that generally happen? Just give us a little summary of the graduate intake process.
Yeah, so we usually take anywhere between 2 to 4 graduates a year. It very much depends on the quality of the graduate that's coming through. So the focus that we have is quality over quantity. I know a lot of other companies would have very large graduate programs, but we like to focus on our graduates and give them 110% of our attention. It's a very niche industry, so we understand that as well as someone may have got on in college, they are coming into something that's brand new. So we like to give them plenty of time, plenty of attention.
So Anya, can you explain to a graduate listening how all of these possible career paths fit together into the wider picture that is Alucraft?
At Alucraft, we do everything under the one roof, and that's partly what makes working with us such a rewarding experience. You can see something through from start to finish. We take a project from cradle to grave, so once a tender has been submitted and a project won, we start at the design stage. Our designers work closely with the client and the architect, designing the facade in detail, right down to the accessory, the nuts and the bolts. At the same time, our structural engineers are reviewing the designs, running tests and conducting analysis to make sure that it has been designed and is structurally sound and performs well. Approved designs get passed on to production. We have a very impressive in-house production facility located alongside our head office in Dublin. So this means that there can be a full collaboration between the different departments. Efficiencies can be achieved and we can guarantee the quality of the finished product. Once the designs have been manufactured, they get shipped to the site, and that's where our project managers step in. A project manager is responsible for running a project, overseeing the installation out on site, liaising with the designers, the engineers and production, building relationships and making sure that everything is running to schedule. The project manager also works closely with their counterparts from the main contractor and other subcontractors representing the company and managing our interests out on site.
So for a graduate who comes into Alucraft, Anya, what would their kind of role be, say in the first week or two, or say in the first month or two? What would their job involve?
As an example, design and engineer graduates come in, they would follow, we have different modules set out. So for instance, they go through company policies and procedures, health and safety, workplace skills, design processes and procedures, product knowledge, structural design, thermal transmission. So it's a really robust career path for designers and engineers once they join the Alucraft graduate programme.
Great, Anya, thanks very much. And Rachel, how can these graduates expect to see their career develop. Obviously, they come in and they learn the different aspects of what you do and the broader business. But, maybe over 2 to 3 years or longer, 4 to 5 years, how can their roles evolve and expand?
Yeah, we take career progression very seriously in the company. So there's actually two streams to our graduate program. We have a design stream and a project management stream. Both of the streams run over a 2-year period, and they've been designed to ensure that a graduate receives, all the training and experience that they need. And we have really clear progression points built into the 2-year program. So if a graduate has the capability, there's absolutely nothing stopping them from working their way up to management level. For example, one of our graduates that we hired in 2017, an engineering graduate, is now a design manager leading a team on one of our very large projects. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing stopping people from working their way up.
So in terms of the scope, the scope there is obvious for people to develop their career. I suppose students and graduates listening to this may be questioning, do they have the right skill set to go for a career in this sector? So what are some of the qualifications, maybe the hard skills that they'd be looking for, maybe in the application process on you? What would stand out on the CV?
Well, graduates from courses such as architectural technology, architecture, mechanical engineering and product design will be very well suited to careers as facade designer. Whilst graduates from courses such as construction management should consider our project management careers.
And would there be particular courses or colleges that you would have particularly strong relationship with over the years?
Yeah, we've built a good relationship with DIT. We've been out on site in Dundalk and also to Waterford and Galway, GMIT and the university down there. So we have been slowly building up our relationships with all of those different institutions.
I see. And when you're out on campus, Anya, would there be any sort of common sort of questions that students may ask you when you're there at careers fairs or at information sessions, that they may have a misconception about the facade industry?
I think the most common thing is that people actually don't factor in the facade industry into their career paths when they're kind of thinking about where they want to go, what companies they want to join. They're kind of thinking in construction, main contractors and things like that, and they're not really looking to the more niche industries that are really thriving. So we're located in Dublin, but we've also got offices in the UK, Poland and the Philippines. So, joining us, you're really joining an international organisation.
That's fantastic for students from those sectors. For those who may not be from that background, who may, have a more of a tech background or maybe marketing, are there also maybe some limited roles available in those areas?
Well, we are looking to get in graduates in procurement and in quantity surveying as well. But right now we're just kind of expanding out from design, structural engineering to project managers. So we're slowly kind of building out those modules for different kind of career paths. So definitely in the next year or two, our graduate program will have expanded vastly.
Rachel, if I could just ask you, and suppose just building on what you told me already about the various structures within the graduate program, the streams, the jobs, and the likelihood of people being able to advance their career considerably within the company. What are some of the success stories been in terms of where graduates have gone within the company and even after their career with the company?
I mean, one of the most obvious examples that spring to mind that example I mentioned earlier of one of our graduates who's now become a design manager. The two graduates who joined us last year, Joel and Luke, they've been incredible. They started working on live projects within their first week of joining us. They joined at a time when we were incredibly busy, and they actually were really instrumental in us meeting some key deadlines for projects. So, I think they're a great testament to the graduate program as well as to their colleges, that they were able to come in and after 1 to 2 weeks really hit the ground running. Those two guys have actually gone on and we use a software called SolidWorks, and they've gone on and completed their professional certifications in SolidWorks, and they both passed first time. So that was great to see as well.
And I suppose as well, for a company like Alucraft, which has such a core of very experienced, very skilled craftspeople, managers, engineers, designers, did you find that, injecting the graduate program into this mix brought kind of a fresh perspective to the company in some regards?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really been a two-way process. So graduates have been able to come in and they're full of enthusiasm and they have great ideas and they're looking at the industry with fresh eyes. And then we have our more experienced designers who are able to take all that good stuff, kind of rein it in a little bit, shape it a little bit, and make sure the graduates have the skills that they need to progress in the industry. So yeah, it's been great having that mixture of people from different backgrounds at different points in their career.
So, Anya, I suppose just to kind of finish up and build on that is the skills that make that transition, when you come in as a graduate and you're working with people who are very experienced, what sort of soft skills can make that transition easier to benefit both people who are working with the graduates and obviously for graduates themselves working with more experienced people?
Yeah, the ability to build relationships is really incredibly important, as well as communication. How to adapt your communication style depending on your medium, audience, and the situation at hand is critical. As I explained before, projects go through various different departments and teams throughout its life cycle. So really building relationships and having great communication skills is really top of the list in terms of soft skills to have for this role.
Okay, and Rachel, if students are listening to this and they say, that sounds like the sort of avenue that I would like to follow for my career, what's the next step they should take?
They should definitely go to our website. If they go there, we have a dedicated careers page. They can contact us directly through that. They should also look at our LinkedIn page. We keep that very up to date. They can see snippets of what it's like to work in Alucraft. We put up project updates, company news. Yeah, they should definitely look at us online and get in touch.
Get in touch. And so, we're now, if this was a normal world, we'd be towards the end of the academic year, and students will be making their plans for the autumn. So when does the intake start? It starts in September, is it?
Yeah, we usually start our graduate program in September.
And the website is alucraftgroup.com.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And we'll have a link to that below the podcast. Listen, I would like to thank both Anya and Rachel for taking the time to join us here today on the Grad Ireland Discovery Week podcast. We really do appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ruairi.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on the Grad Ireland Career Discovery Week podcast. Make sure to check out the other episodes in our series and browse through our other content, such as live blogs, articles, webinars and live panel discussions.